Hey everybody, Marcus C. Williams here. And I'm running for city council, but today we're going to talk about the breakdown of the family and a couple of ways that city council can help work to start resolving that serious issue that's pulling our whole society down right now here locally and across the country. But we're going to focus local because that's where we can make the real change. So I encourage you, go to my website, donate, volunteer, do whatever you can. Right now we're working on collecting signatures to get on an independent line. We're calling the community first line because I believe that the community should be prioritized by our elected representatives, and it's very clear that we don't matter to them, but you matter to me. So as we're going into this conversation, many of you guys already have seen the breakdown of the family since you were little, right? Like there were much more two-family households, two-parent households, where there was a mother and a father in the home. We know that based on the statistics, realistically, for a child to maximize their ability for success in life, they need a mother and a father in the home. But it seems like our government has been continuously, purposefully incentivizing single-parent households. And we need to move away from that. And we need to plan to create opportunities for families and for the youth for the future. So here's a couple of my solutions. One solution is we need to set up baby bonds, right? So what's a baby bond? It's real simple. It's a dedicated amount of funding towards each child's birth. Now, how that would be used is each baby bond would be, let's call it, it'll depend on the budget, let's call it $1,000 or $1,500. And that would be in the form of a municipal bond that will be allocated for that child. Now, each year, the city comes out and usually whatever the mayor is, they'll say, oh, look at our great credit rating and how great our city is. That means we could borrow money cheaper and we're very profitable and all of this and all of that. Okay. If that's the case, let's use that ability to reinvest in our community and in our youth for their future. And what we would do is we would hold that bond and we would have it grow continuously. Now, in addition to that, what would happen is at the age of 18, that child would be able to access that money. They can put it to college, or they can take it and they can cash it out. That's their option. Or they can continue to have it held and continue to have it grow. That's a small investment in the future of these children. Now, what we could also do along that line is we can do a series of financial education things, not just for the children, but for the parents. I believe a good thing that we could do with that would be for anybody, you figure between the preteens and 13, so we'll call it about 10 to 13 years old, we can start to do a financial literacy course, real short, in just basic investments. We'll do something in relation to stocks and bonds, treasuries, and also in investments and credit score. So to teach the children growing up about these things, and for each child, they can allocate $20 or $100 or whatever you can, whatever we work out in the budget to, for each child. And we say, okay, so this is your money. Here's how we teach them about the stocks. Then they pick companies or ETFs or whatever that they want to invest in. We teach them about bonds and treasury yields so that they can pick their investment driver. We say, hey, look, stocks have an option to be very profitable, but there's also that portion of risk. We could say, hey, bonds and treasuries are more likely to grow and more likely to be reinvested, and we can do that for the youth. Now, there are many people that get out there and they talk about community banking, but they talk about no system for implementing it. I'm not big thing on expanding the government. Okay, so I don't necessarily think that we should have public banks. I don't trust the government. I love my country. I know better than to trust my government, especially our local government. But I do believe that if we could use that as a tool to show and teach the youth on how that they can not just grow their own independent wealth, but also give them the financial footing so that when they get out of school, not only do they understand the basics of financial literacy and have a little money that's actually saved up that they can either reinvest or use. Maybe they use it to put as a down payment as a house. Maybe they use it for whatever else they want to. It's their money. You know, after they're 18, they can use it the way that they want to, or they can keep it invested. But in the meantime, those two different forms would almost act as a quasi-private individual municipal wealth fund. So these are things that we can do and options, and we can work out the fine, minute details. I also do believe there should be a separate thing where we can have a independent municipal wealth fund where citizens can actually invest in our communities. I went to a meeting one day where there was a development project that's going on in the city, and anybody could invest in the project for the city. But here's the thing. In order to invest in that project, they had to be an institutional investor. Well, what does being an institutional investor mean? According to them, being an institutional investor means that you have to have $250,000 sitting, chilling, cash, in hand, or in a bank account, somewhere that's not being touched. Now, even most people that have $250,000, most of it's not sitting liquid. You know, the only people that really have $250,000 sitting liquid are really wealthy people. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that means that was prohibitive for the citizens that live in the neighborhood. Now, this is an underserved neighborhood. I'm not going to talk about it because that's for another video. But this is a city, is a neighborhood in the city that is extremely underserved. So I was not only perplexed, I was perturbed. I was confused and I was pissed. You know what I'm saying? So there was this big project that they're like, yeah, we want people to invest in this project, but the people that live in the neighborhood can't invest in the project. No, that didn't strike me as being quite right. So we should have our own municipal sovereign wealth fund where citizens themselves can put money in there and it will grow. That's something that we can do for our citizens. Many citizens in Rochester have lived here their whole life. Many are multi-generational households. There are a lot of people that would not want to be anywhere else but Rochester, or couldn't see themselves being anywhere else but Rochester. Why not have them have the ability to actually invest in their community and in their neighborhoods and see their money grow? Why not? So we can use an individual municipal wealth fund to invest in local projects. We can use it to invest in different things like municipal bonds. We can end up internally inside our own city being able to finance all of the projects that we want to do in the city. Then we could set it up in dream of dreams, right? Then we could set it up where if there's going to be a project done here, the money has to come from, or at least a portion of it has to be coming from our city's municipal wealth fund, so that some of that development that ends up making money actually goes back into the accounts of the citizens that live here. Why should we not benefit? We've got all of these projects going on, and as you guys know, for years, and however you look at it, cities grow. Cities have projects, there's demolition, stuff grows, stuff gets torn down, projects are made, people take out funds and take out loans for different developments and stuff like that. Why are we not able to use our own community's resources to invest back into our community and generate revenue based on that? Okay, that's Very important. We should be able to make money off of these crazy projects. Many of them, we just have one built down the street from me. Something like, I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. I think it ended up, it was projected to be like 20 million or something like that. I don't know. It's a whole thing that they're doing together. It's kind of crazy, honestly. Or maybe it was 12 million. I might have those numbers switched around, so forgive me if the numbers are switched around, but I'm pretty sure it's like 21. Maybe it was 18. But it's a lot of money. And these companies aren't just having a whole load of cash sitting aside and they're just putting that to front their project. No, they're taking out loans. They're getting investors. Why aren't we as citizens able to invest in these projects? And a municipal wealth fund would enable us to do that and invest in ourselves and our children's future at the same time, as well as the direction of our city. So there's that. Plus, I swear to goodness, you guys, we got to stop the city from selling all of these properties for $1 to these big developers and then us giving them tax, what do you call them? Tax, there's a better word for them. Basically where they pay no taxes, okay? They're called tax abatements and some other things, but there's a better word for it than a tax abatement. It's not coming to mind right now. But these are some simple ideas that I have in relation to that. And I encourage you, please help me fight for our city, volunteer for my campaign, donate, join the movement, because this is about us. This is about our community and building our future and giving people the opportunity to thrive. So go to my website and volunteer. Right now, I could use as many volunteers as possible to help collect signatures to get on what we're calling the Community First, which is going to be an independent line that I'm working to collect signatures for. We got a couple weeks left and I could really use your help. And if you're local or not, even not local, you can all donate. Maybe $10, $25, $250, $1,000 or more, whatever you can. This is an investment in the fight for our future. So go to my website, join the movement, Marcus, the number 4, Rochester.com. That's Marcus, the number 4, Rochester.com. Now, back to the family aspect, because that was the increasing the net worth of families and our community as a whole. So now with this portion, I'd like to talk about making sure that we incentivize parents to participate in things like the school system, as well as incentivizing them to get involved locally in politics and political matters like our budget, like our legislation that we do. Now, the city has a number of different, I guess you'd call them, ways to reach out to people. And I use that term loosely, right? It seems like the very important things sometimes only get out to a very select and small group of individuals to know about things. So I often question the way that they do that, and I believe that we firmly need to look at that so that there's a way that we can determine we can get more stuff out to more people. So our meetings for City Council, they're listed online. You can call down to City Council. Not many people do that. But there needs to be another option. I have many ideas and thoughts on the matter, but I do believe that there should be both an email and a phone number contact for text messaging option for those meetings. I believe that you should be able to have those meetings as accessible and notable as possible. Now, not everybody's going to sign up for an email. Not everybody's going to sign up for a text message. But it should be an option, and we should be publicizing it. That we should take a small fraction of our budget out and put it on WDKX or WHAM or wherever and say, hey, we're launching an initiative to reach out to constituents, and we want your input on the projects, and we want you to have a voice in our community. We're setting up a customer outreach thing that it's going to be, you can get a text or you can get an email or you can get both. In relation to the local meetings that we have going on, specifically to be dealing with things like school board or city council. Separate note, I'd encourage the county ledge to put out something like that too. But again, back to focusing on city council and our city specifically. So I believe that would be a great option. Plus, it could give notifications of different things that are upcoming and things like that. You can also even like have a little checkbox to say, I want to subscribe for these type of notifications. These are notifications that might come out, you know, kids sports, what do you call them? The RFPs for the city and stuff like that, different things like that. We can put in the checkbox for them to select. So this is an option of getting the community, especially families, more engaged and more invested. Not a lot of people are going to take that as an option, and I suppose probably out of those people that do take it as an option, not everybody is going to actively participate, but participation will go up. And knowing that they have access to it means that they would feel more empowered and more engaged. So that's a very, very important thing to me. I believe that the people should be able to be knowledgeable about what's going on with their local government and be empowered to get active with their local government. I also believe that the city should be putting in city ordinances so that parents can actually go and get access into the schools. Right now, it's very prohibitive and very hard. You used to just be able to go to the school and say, okay, I want to have a visit with my kid today and sit in the class. You know what I'm saying? They've made it almost too encumbering, you know, too burdensome for people to do that type of stuff now anymore. So we need to make it so that that type of stuff is streamlined, so that more encouragement is put on parents to go out and do that. We can also set up a number of different incentives surrounding that. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but that's something that I'd put out to the community. Say, hey, what will be able to get you more engaged to participate in more things, especially in the school system. So, but these are the type of things that we need to workshop with the community. That doesn't happen very often. And even when there is a workshop for something, how do you even know about it, right? Like, you're lucky if you saw a posting or something about it. So these things are kind of serious that we need to get more people active and involved in. And I encourage you, go to my website, donate, volunteer, do what you can. Marcus, the number 4Rochester.com. That's Marcus, the number 4Rochester.com. Now, back to the family. One last note on the family itself. I want to make sure that, especially in our community where we know the birth rates in our city, state, and nation continue to shrink, that we are incentivizing comprehensive households, a mother and a father in a home. Okay, that's very, very important. So right now, we know that over the last couple of years, we've been having more abortions than we have actual live births in many places. This is very serious in nature because people make complaints about things like Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and stuff like that, but when you take your check and you look at your check, you see that Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare come out of your check. Those are built in, I guess you call them, they're not taxes, but you could call them built-in taxes. But if there aren't enough young people working to pay those, then there's not going to be enough money there. So we need to incentivize more births so that we can not only take care of our elders, we've got a massive graying population that's coming up, and that's going to be very serious, but we can also have people in the future that are able to sustain our city, and we won't have to look for people to bring them from outside other places. That's crazy to me. Because with our, again, I don't know if you guys saw another video I did, but they were paying people $15,000 to work remotely and come live in the city. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. They're trying to bring people from the Southwest and stuff like that don't even have jobs here in the city to work remotely for a company that's not even in the city. $15,000. I got a lot to say on that, but that's not what this is about. So I believe we need to incentivize cohesive households so that when people are planning on having children, that they are not just married, but they are able to be fruitful. I believe we should also have marriage bonds. Okay? The longer you're married, the more money it accrues, to be paid out 10, 20 years in increments. And the way those would work is we'll figure out what the amounts are, but the city can match those monies up to a certain amount. And that money will be invested in our municipal sovereign wealth fund. Boom, like that. Boom, like that. So, these are some ideas that are not only cost effective, they're easily implementable, and they really have a real impact. I've got some other ideas and concepts around the line in relation to this, but I figured these are some of the most simple ones that we can do all at one time, and they address two issues at the same time. They address encouraging families, encouraging children births in comprehensive households, so we have less of a burden on society, but also we have a sustainable future. And in line with that, it also allows us as a city to build financial resources and build and grow capital here locally that will be reinvested here locally. And that, more than anything, is desperately needed now, because there is so much money that's flowing through Rochester that's invested in other places or comes from other places and makes other people money, but doesn't make us as locals money, doesn't benefit us as locals. So I believe that those two aspects combined together are things that we can really do to see some opportunities in our future to thrive. So please do what you can. Help me fight for our community. Go to my website. Please volunteer, donate, whatever you can do. And remember, you don't have to be local to donate. So if you're watching this and you're not local, you're like, how can I help? Please donate. You can do both on my website, Marcus4Rochester.com. That's Marcus4Rochester.com. I love you all. I'll catch you guys later. Remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action.